As by your high imperial majesty, I had in charge at my depart for France, as protector to your excellence, to marry Princess Margaret for your grace. So in the famous ancient city tours I have performed my task, and was espoused, and humbly now upon my bended knee, in sight of England and her lordly peers, deliver up my title in the Queen to your most gracious hands, that are the substance of that great shadow I did represent, the happiest gift that ever Marquis gave, the fairest Queen that ever King received.
Suffolk, arise, and welcome Queen Margaret. I can express no kinder sign of love than this kind kiss. O Lord, that lends me life, lend me a heart replete with thankfulness. Thou hast given me in this beauteous face a world of earthly blessings to my soul, if sympathy of love unite our thoughts.
Great King of England and my gracious Lord, the mutual conference that my mind hath had by day, by night, waking and in my dreams with you, mine alder life-best sovereign, makes me the bolder to salute my king with ruder terms, such as my wit affords, and over joy of heart doth minister.
Her sight did ravish, but her grace in speech, her words glad with wisdom's majesty, makes me from wondering fall to weeping joy, such is the fullness of my heart's content. Lords, with one cheerful voice, welcome my love.
Long live
Queen Margaret.
Happiness.
We thank you all.
My Lord Protector, so it please your grace, here are the articles of contracted peace between our sovereign and the French King Charles.
First, it is agreed between the French King Charles and William de Pole, Marquess of Suffolk, ambassador for Henry, King of England, that the said Henry should espouse the Lady Margaret, daughter unto Rainier, King of Naples, Sicilia, and Jerusalem, and crown her Queen of England. The 30th of May next ensuing, second, that the Duchy of Anjou and the County of Maine shall be released and delivered to the King her father.
Uncle, how now?
Well, pardon me, gracious lord, some sudden qualm hath struck me at the heart and dimmed mine eyes. I can read no further.
Uncle of Winchester, I pray, read on.
It is further agreed between them that the duchies of Anjou and Maine shall be released and delivered over to the king her father, and she sent over to the king of England's own proper cost and charges without having any dowry.
They please us well. Lord Marquis, kneel down. We here create thee the first Duke of Suffolk, and gird thee with the sword. Thanks, Gloucester, York, Buckingham, Somerset, Salisbury, and Warwick. We thank you all for the great favor done in entertainment to my princely queen. Come, let us in, and with all speed provide to see her coronation performed.
Brave peers of England, pillars of the state, to you Duke Humphrey must unload his grief, your grief, the common grief of all the land. What, did my brother Henry spend his youth, his valor, coin, and people in the wars to conquer France, his true inheritance? And did my brother Bedford toil his wits to keep by policy what Henry got? Have you yourselves, Somerset, Buckingham, brave York, Salisbury, and victorious Warwick, received deep scars in France and Normandy? And shall these labors and these honors die? Shall Henry's conquest, Bedford's vigilance, your deeds of war, and all our counsel die? Oh, peers of England, shameful is this league. Fatal this marriage, canceling your fame, blotting your names from books of memory, undoing all as all has ever been.
Now, by the death of him that died for all, these counties were the keys of Normandy.
Anjou and Maine, myself did win them both. Those provinces these arms of mine did conquer, and are the cities that I got with wounds delivered up again with peaceful words.
Suffolk's duke, may he be suffocated, that dims the honour of this warlike isle. I never read, but England's kings have had large sums of gold and dowries with their wives, and our King Henry gives away his own to match with her that brings no vantages.
She should have stayed in France and starved in France before.
My lord of Gloucester, now you grow too hot. It was the pleasure of my lord the king.
My lord of Winchester, I know your mind. 'Tis not my speeches that you do mislike, but 'tis my presence that does trouble ye. Rancor will out. Proud prelate, in thy face I see thy fury. If I longer stay, we shall begin our ancient bickerings. Lordings, farewell, and say, when I'm gone, I prophesied France will be lost ere long.
So there goes our protector in a rage. 'Tis known to you he is mine enemy, nay, more an enemy unto you all, and no great friend I fear me to the king. Consider, lords, he's the next of blood. Look to it, lords. Let not his smoothing words bewitch your hearts. Be wise and circumspect. What though the common people favor him, calling him Humphrey, the good Duke of Gloucester? I fear me, lords, for all this flattering gloss, he will be found a dangerous protector.
Cousin of Buckingham, though Humphrey's pride and greatness of his place be grief to us, yet let us watch the haughty cardinal. His insolence is more intolerable than all the princes in the land beside. If Gloucester be displaced, he'll be protector.
Thou or I, Somerset, will be protector despite Duke Humphrey or the cardinal.
Pride went before, ambition follows him. While these do labor for their own preferment, behooves it us to labor for the realm. I never saw, but Humphrey, Duke of Gloucester, did bear him like a noble gentleman, and Warwick, my son, the comfort of my age, thy deeds, thy plainness, and thy housekeeping, hath won the greatest favor of the commons, and brother York, thy acts in Ireland, bringing them to civil discipline, thy late exploits done in the heart of France, have made thee feared and honored of the people. Join we together for the public good, and what we can to bridle and suppress the pride of Suffolk and the cardinal.
So God help Warwick, as he loves the land and common profit of his country.
And so says York, for he hath greatest cause.
Then let's make haste away.
Anjou and Maine are given to the French. Paris is lost. The state of Normandy stands on a tickle point. Now they're gone. Suffolk concluded on the articles. The peers agreed, and Henry was well pleased to change 2 dukedoms for a duke's fair daughter. I cannot blame them all. What is to them? 'Tis thine they give away, and not their own. So York must sit and fret and bite his tongue, while his own lands are bargained for and sold. Anjou and Maine both given to the French. Cold news for me, for I had hope of France, even as I have of fertile England's soil. A day will come when York shall claim his own, and therefore I will take the Neville's parts and make a show of love to proud Duke Humphrey, and when I spy advantage, claim the crown. For that's the golden mark I seek to hit. Nor shall proud Lancaster usurp my right, whose church-like humours fits not for a crown. Then York, be still awake while time do serve. Watch thou, and wake when others be asleep, to pry into the secrets of the state. Till Henry surfeit in the joys of love with his new bride and England's dear-bought queen, and Humphrey with the peers be folded jars, then will I raise aloft the milk-white rose, with whose sweet smell the air shall be perfumed, and in my standard bear the arms of York, to grapple with the house of Lancaster, and force perforce I'll make him yield the crown, whose bookish rule hath pulled fair England down.
Why doth the great Duke Humphrey knit his brows, frowning at the favours of the world? Why are thine eyes fixed to the sullen earth, gazing on that which seems to dim thy sight? What seest thou there? King Henry's diadem in chase with all the honours of the world? If so, gaze on, and grovel on thy face, until thy head be circled with the same. Put forth thy hand, reach at the glorious gold. What, is too short? I'll lengthen it with mine, and having both together heaped it up, we'll both together lift our heads to heaven, and never more abase our sight so low as to vouchsafe one glance unto the ground.
Oh no, sweet no. If thou dost love thy lord, banish the canker of ambitious thoughts. And may that thought, when I imagine ill against my king and nephew, virtuous Henry, be my last breathing in this mortal world. My troublous dream this night doth make me sad.
What dreamed, my lord? Tell me, and I'll requite it, with sweet rehearsal of my morning's dream.
Methought the staff, mine office badge and cord, was broken twain, by whom I have forgot, but as I think it was by the cardinal. And on the pieces of the broken wand were placed the heads of Edmund, Duke of Somerset, and William de la Pole, first Duke of Suffolk. This was my dream. What it did bode, God knows.
But this was nothing but an argument, that he that breaks a stick of Gloucester's grove shall lose his head for his presumption. But list to me, my Humphrey, my sweet Duke. Methought I sat in seat of majesty, in the Cathedral Church of Westminster, and in that chair where kings and queens are crowned, where Henry and Dame Margaret kneeled to me, and on my head did sit the diadem.
Nay, Eleanor, that must I chide outright. Presumptuous dame, ill-nurtured Eleanor, art thou not second woman in the realm and the protector's wife, beloved of him? Hast thou not worldly pleasure at command, above the reach or compass of thy thought? And wilt thou still be hammering treachery to humble down thy husband and thyself from top of honor to disgrace's feet? Away from me, let me hear no more.
What, my lord? Are you so choleric with Eleanor for telling but her dream? Next time I'll keep my dreams unto myself and not protect.
Nay, be not angry. I'm pleased again.
My Lord Protector, 'tis his highness' pleasure you do prepare to ride unto St. Albans, whereas the king and queen do mean to hog.
I go. Come, now, thou wilt ride with us.
Yes, my good lord, I'll follow presently. Follow I must, I cannot go before, while Gloucester bears his base and humble mind. Where are you there? Sir John? Ne fear not, man, we are alone, here's none but thee and I.
Jesus preserve your royal majesty.
What sayest thou? Majesty, I am but grace.
But by the grace of God and Hume's advice, your grace's title shall be multiplied.
What sayest thou, man? Hast thou as yet conferred with Marjorie Jordan, the cunning witch, with Roger Bolingbroke, the conjurer? And will they undertake to do me good?
This they have promised, to show your highness a spirit raised from depth of underground that shall make answer to such questions as by your grace shall be propounded him.
It is enough. I'll think upon the questions. Here, Hume, take this reward. Make merry, man.
Hume must make merry with the Duchess' gold. Marry and shall. But how now, Sir John Hume, seal up your lips and give no words but mum. The business asketh silent secrecy. Dame Eleanor gives gold to bring the witch, yet I have gold flies from another coast, and dare not say from the rich cardinal and from the great and new-made Duke of Suffolk? They, knowing Dame Eleanor's aspiring humor, have hired me to undermine the Duchess and buzz these conjurations in her brain. Well, so it stands, and thus, I fear, at last, Hume's knavery will be the Duchess's wreck, and her attenture will be Humphrey's fall. Sort how it will, I shall have gold from it all.
My masters, let's stand close. My Lord Protector will come this way by and by, and then we may deliver our supplications in the quill.
Marry, the Lord protect him, for he's a good man. Jesu bless him.
Here he comes, methinks, and the Queen with him. I will be the first, sure.
Oh, come back, fool! This is the Duke of Suffolk and not my Lord Protector.
How now, fellow? Would anything with me?
I pray, my lord, pardon me. I took you for the Lord Protector.
To my Lord Protector. Are you supplications to his lordship? Let me see them. What is thine?
Mine is, and please your grace, against John Goodman, my Lord Cardinal's man, for keeping my house, my lands, and wife and all from me.
My wife too? That's some wrong indeed. What's yours? What's here? Against the Duke of Suffolk, for enclosing the Commons of Melford. How now, Sir Knave?
Alas, sir, I am but a poor petitioner for our whole township.
Against my master, Thomas Horner, for saying that the Duke of York was rightful heir to the crown.
What sayest thou? Did the Duke of York say he was rightful heir to the crown?
That my master was so? No, my master said that he was, and that the king was a usurper.
Who's there? Take this fellow in and send for his master presently. We'll hear more of your matter before the king.
And as for you, that love to be protected under the wings of our protector's grace, begin your suits anew and sue to him. Away, base cullions. Suffolk, let them go.
Come, let's be gone.
My Lord of Suffolk, say, is this the guise? Is this the fashion in the court of England? Is this the government of Britain's Isle, and this the royalty of Albion's king? What, shall King Henry be a pupil still under the surly Gloucester's governance? Am I a queen in title and in style, and must be made a subject to a duke? I tell thee, Pole, when in the city tours thou ranst a tilt in honor of my love, and stolest away the ladies' hearts of France, I thought King Henry had resembled thee in courage, courtship, and proportion. But all his mind is bent to holiness, to number Ave Marias on his beads. His champions are the prophets and apostles, his weapons holy saws of sacred writ. I would the college of the cardinals would choose him pope and carry him to Rome and set the triple crown upon his head. That were a state fit for his holiness.
Madam, be patient. As I was cause your highness came to England, so will I in England work your grace's full content.
Beside the haughty protector have we Beaufort, the imperious churchman, Somerset, Buckingham, and grumbling York. Not the least of these, but can do more in England than the king.
And he of these that can do most of all cannot do more in England than the Nevilles. Salisbury and Warwick are no simple peers.
Not all these lords do vex me half so much as that proud dame, the Lord Protector's wife. She sweeps it through the court with troops of ladies, more like an empress than the Duke Humphrey's wife. Strangers in court do take her for the queen.
Madam, myself have lined a bush for her and placed a choir of such enticing birds that she will light to listen to the songs, and never mount to trouble you again. So let her rest, and madam, list to me. Although we fancy not the cardinal, yet we must join with him and with the lords till we have brought Duke Humphrey in disgrace. As for the Duke of York, his late complaint will make him but little for his benefit. So one by one, he'll weed them all the last, and you yourself shall steer the happy realm.
For my part, noble lords, I care not which, Somerset or York, all's one to me.
If York hath ill-demeaned himself in France, then let him be denied the regentship.
If Somerset be unworthy of the place, let York be regent. I will yield to him.
Whether your grace be worthy, yea or no, dispute not that. York is the worthier.
Ambitious Warwick, let thy betters speak.
The cardinal's not my better in the field.
All in this presence are thy betters, Warwick.
Warwick may live to be best of all.
Ease, son, and show some reason, Buckingham, why Somerset should be preferred on this.
Because the king, forsooth, will have it so.
Madam, the king's old himself enough to give his censure. These are no woman's matters.
If he be old enough, what needs your grace to be protector of his excellence?
Madam, I'm protector of the realm, and at his pleasure will resign my place.
Resign it then, and leave thine insolence. Since thou wert king, as who is king but thou, the Commonwealth hath daily run to wreck. The Dauphin hath prevailed beyond the seas, and all the peers and nobles of the realm have been as bondmen to thy sovereignty.
The commons hast thou racked. The clergy's bags are lank and lean with thy extortions.
sumptuous buildings and thy wife's attire have cost a mass of public treasury.
Thy cruelty and execution upon offenders hath exceeded law, and left thee to the mercy of the law.
Give me my fan. What, minion? Can ye not hear? Madam, was it you?
Was it she? Yea.
Aunt, be quiet. 'Twas against her will.
Against her will? Good king, look to it in time. She'll hamper thee, and dandle thee like a baby, though in this place most master wears no breeches, she shall not strike Dame Eleanor unrevenged.
Lord Cardinal, I will follow Eleanor and listen after Humphrey how he proceeds. She's tickled now. Her fume needs no spurs. She'll gallop far enough to her destruction.
Now, lords, my collar being overblown with walking once about the quadrangle, I come to talk of Commonwealth affairs. As for your spiteful false objections, prove them, and I lie open to the law, but God in mercy so deal with my soul, as I in duty love my king and country. But to the matter that we have in hand, I say my sovereign York is meetest man to be your regent in the realm of France.
Before we make election, give me leave to show some reason, of no little force, that York is most unmeet of any man.
I'll tell thee, Suffolk, why I am unmeet. First, for I cannot flatter thee in pride. Next, if I be appointed for the place, my lord of Somerset will keep me here without discharge, money, or furniture, till France be won into the Dauphin's hands. Last time I danced attendance on his will, till Paris was besieged, famished, and lost.
That can I witness, and a fouler fact did never traitor in the land commit.
Peace, headstrong Warwick.
Image of pride, why should I hold my peace?
Because here is a man accused of treason. Pray God the Duke of York excuse himself.
Doth anyone accuse York for a traitor?
What meanst thou, Suffolk? Tell me, what are these?
Please it your majesty, this is the man that doth accuse his master of high treason. His words are these, that Richard Duke of York was rightful heir unto the English crown, and that your majesty was a usurper.
Say, man, were these thy words?
And please your majesty, I never said nor thought any such matter. God is my witness, I'm falsely accused by the villain.
By these 10 bones, my lords, he did speak them to me in the garret one night as we were scouring the Lord of York's armor.
Base dunghill villain and mechanical, I have thy head for this thy traitor's speech. I do beseech your royal majesty, let him have all the rigour of the law.
Uncle, what shall we say to this in law?
This doom, my lord, if I may judge. Let Somerset be regent over the French, because in York this breeds suspicion.
I humbly thank your royal majesty.
Come, Somerset, we'll see thee sent away.
Will her ladyship behold and hear our exorcisms?
I fear you not her courage.
Oh, I have heard her reported to be a woman of an invincible spirit. Oh, Mother Jourdain, be you prostrate and grovel on the earth, and let us do our work.
Oh. Welcome all. This gear, the sooner the better.
Patience, good lady. Wizards know their times. Deep night, dark night, the silent of the night. The time of night when Troy was set on fire. The time when screech owls cry and bandogs howl. And spirits walk and ghosts break up their graves. That time best fits the work we have in hand. Madam, sit you and fear not. Whom we raise, we will make fast within a hallowed verge.
Math. By the eternal God, whose name and power thou tremblest at answer that I shall ask. For, till thou speak, thou shalt not pass from hence.
Ask what thou wilt, that I had said and done.
First of the king, what shall become of him?
The Duke yet lives that Henry shall depose, but him outlive and die a violent death.
What fates await the Duke of Suffolk?
By water he shall die and take his end.
What shall befall the Duke of Somerset?
Let him shun castles. Safer shall he be upon the sandy plains than where castles mounted stand. Have done. For more I hardly can endure.
Descend to darkness and the burning lake. False feed! Avoid!
Lay hands upon these traitors and their trash. Beldam, I think we watched you at an inch. What, madam, are you there? The king and commonweal are deeply indebted for this piece of pains. My lord protector will, I doubt it not, see you well guerdoned for these good deserts. All away! Pretty plot, well chosen to build upon. The king is now in progress towards St. Albans, with him the husband of this lovely lady. Thither go these news as fast as horse can carry them. A sorry breakfast for my lord protector.
Leave me, lords, for flying at the brook. I saw not better sport these 7 years' day. Yet by your leave, the wind was very high.
But what a point, my lord, your falcon made, and what a pitch she flew above the rest! To see how God in all his creatures works. Yea, man and birds are fain of climbing high.
No marvel in it, like your majesty, my lord protector's hawks do tower so well. They know their master loves to be aloft and bears his thoughts above the falcon's pitch.
My lord, 'tis but a base ignoble mind that mounts no higher than a bird can soar. Why, Suffolk, England knows thine insolence.
And thy ambition, Gloucester.
I prithee, peace! How irksome is this music to my heart! When such strings jar, what hope of harmony? I pray, my lords, let me compound this strife.
A miracle!
Well, what means this noise? Fellow, what miracle dost thou proclaim?
Oh, a miracle! A miracle!
Come to the king and tell him what miracle.
Forsooth, a blind man at St. Albans' shrine within this half hour hath received his sight. A man that ne'er saw in his life before.
Oh, God be praised, that to believing souls gives light in darkness, comfort in despair.
What? Here comes the townsman on procession to present your highness. Here comes the townsman on procession to present your highness with the man.
Great is his comfort in this earthly vale, although by his sight his sin be multiplied.
Stand by, my masters. Bring him near the king. His highness's pleasure is to talk with him.
Good fellow, tell us here the circumstance, that we for thee may glorify the Lord. What, hast thou been long blind and now restored?
Born blind, and it please your grace.
Aye, indeed, was he.
What woman is this?
His wife, and like your worship.
Where wert thou born?
At Berwick in the north, and it like your grace.
Oh, poor soul, God's goodness hath been great to thee. Let never day nor night unhallowed pass, but still remember what the Lord hath done.
Tell me, good fellow, camest thou here by chance or of devotion to this holy shrine?
Oh, God knows, of pure devotion, being called 100 times and oftener in my sleep by good St. Alban, who said, Simcox, come, offer at my shrine, and I will help thee.
Most true, forsooth, and many time enough to myself have heard a voice to call him so.
What? Art thou lame?
Aye, God Almighty, help me.
How camest thou, sir?
I fall off of a tree.
A plum tree, master.
How long hast thou been blind?
Born so, master.
What? And wouldst climb a tree?
But that one in all my life when I was a youth.
Mass, thou loves plums well. That wouldst venture, so.
Alas, good master, my wife desired some damsons, and made me climb with danger of my life.
Subtle knave, but yet it shall not serve. Let me see thine eyes, wink now. Now open them. In my opinion, yet thou seest not well.
Yes, master, clear as day, I thank God and St. Alban.
Sayest thou me so? What colour is this cloak of?
Oh, it's red, master, red as blood.
And what colour is my gown of?
Black, forsooth, coal black as jet.
Tell me, sirrah, what's my name?
Alas, master, I know not.
What's his name?
I know not.
Nor his?
No, indeed, master.
What's thine own name?
Saunders Imcogs, an it please you, master.
Then Saunders sit there, the lyingest knave in Christendom. If thou hadst been born blind, thou mightst as well have known all our names as thus to name the several colours we do wear. Sight may distinguish colours, but suddenly to nominate them at all, it is impossible. My lords, St. Alban here hath done a miracle, and would you not think his cunning to be great that could restore this cripple to his legs again? Ooh.
Oh, master, that you could.
Sirrah, go fetch the beetle hither straight. Now fetch me a stool hither by and by. Now, sirrah, if you mean to save yourself from whipping, leap me over this stool and run away.
Alas, master, I'm not able to stand alone. You go about to torture me in vain.
Oh, well, sir, we must have you find your legs. Sirrah Beetle, whip him till he leap over that same stool.
I will, my lord. Come on, sirrah. Off with your doublet quickly.
Alas, master, what shall I do? I am not able to stand.
Oh God, seest thou this, and bearest so long?
It made me laugh to see the villain run.
Follow the knave and take this drab away.
Alas, sir, we did it for pure need.
Let them be whipped through every market town till they come to Berwick, then from whence they came.
Well, Duke Humphrey has done a miracle today.
True, made the lame to leap and fly away.
What tidings from our cousin Buckingham?
Such as my heart doth tremble to unfold. A sort of naughty persons, lewdly bent under the countenance and confederacy of Lady Eleanor, the Protector's wife, the ringleader and head of all this rout, have practiced dangerously against your state, dealing with witches and with conjurers, whom we have apprehended in the fact, raising up wicked spirits from underground, demanding of King Henry's life and death, as more at large your grace shall understand.
Oh God, what mischiefs work the wicked ones, heaping confusion on their own heads thereby.
Gloucester, see here the tainture of thy nest, and look thyself be faultless, thou wert best.
Madam, for herself to heaven I do appeal, how I have loved my king and commonweal, and for my wife I know not how it stands. Sorry I am to hear that I have heard. Noble she is, but if she have forgot honor and virtue, and converse with such as like to pitch, defile to nobility, I banish her my bed and company, and give her as a prey to law and shame that hath dishonored Gloucester's honest name.
Well, for this night we will repose us here. Tomorrow toward London back again to look into this business thoroughly, and call these foul offenders to their answers.
Now, my good lords of Salisbury and Warwick, our simple supper ended, give me leave in this close walk to satisfy myself in craving your opinion of my title, which is infallible, to England's crown.
My lord, I long to hear it at full.
Sweet York, begin, and if thy claim be good, the Nevilles are thy subjects to command.
Then thus. Edward III, my lords, had 7 sons. The first, Edward the Black Prince, Prince of Wales. Edward the Black Prince died before his father and left behind him Richard, his only son, who after Edward III's death reigned as king, till Henry Bolingbroke, Duke of Lancaster, the eldest son and heir of John of Gaunt, crowned by the name of Henry IV, seized on the realm, deposed the rightful king, sent his poor queen to France, from whence she came, and him to Pomfret, where, as all you know, harmless Richard was murdered traitorously.
Father, the Duke hath told the truth, and thus got the house of Lancaster the crown.
Which now they hold by force, and not by right. For Richard, the first son's heir, being dead, the issue of the next son should have reigned.
But William, the second son, died without an heir.
Third son, Duke of Clarence, from whose line I claim the crown, had issue. Philippe, a daughter, who married Edmund Mortimer, Earl of March. Edmund had issue. Roger, Earl of March. Roger had issue. Edmund and Anne, my mother. My mother being the heir unto the crown. By her I claim the kingdom. She was heir to Roger, Earl of March, who was the son of Edmund Mortimer, who'd married Philippe, sole daughter unto Lionel, Duke of Clarence. So if the issue of the elder son succeed before the younger, I am king.
What plain proceeding is more plain than this? Henry doth claim the crown from John of Gaunt, the fourth son. York claims it from the third. Then, Father Salisbury, kneel we together, and in this private plot be we the first that shall salute our rightful sovereign with honour of his birthright to the crown.
Long live our sovereign, Richard, England's
king.
You lords, but I am not your king till I be crowned, and that my sword be stained with heart blood of the house of Lancaster. And that's not suddenly to be performed, but with advice and silent secrecy.
My lord, break we off. We know your mind at full.
My heart assures me that the Earl of Warwick shall one day make the Duke of York a king.
And, Neville, this I do assure myself. Richard shall live to make the Earl of Warwick the greatest man in England, but the king.
Stand forth, Dame Eleanor Cobham, Gloucester's wife. In sight of God and us, your guilt is great. Receive the sentence of the law for sins such as by God's book are adjudged to death. You, madam, for you are nobly born, shall, after 3 days open penance done, live in your country here in banishment with Sir John Stanley in the Isle of Man.
Welcome is banishment. Welcome were my death.
Eleanor, the law, thou seest, hath judged thee. I cannot justify whom the law condemns. Mine eyes are full of tears, my heart of grief. I beseech your majesty, give me leave to go. Sorrow would solace, and mine age would ease.
Stay, Humphrey, Duke of Gloucester. Ere thou go, give up thy staff. Henry will to himself protector be, and God shall be my hope, my stay, my guide, and lantern to my feet. And go in peace, Humphrey, no less beloved than when thou wert protector to thy king.
I see no reason why a king of years should be to be protected like a child. God and King Henry govern England's realm. Give up your staff, sir, and the king his realm.
My staff? Here, noble Henry, is my staff. As willingly do I the same resign as ere my father Henry made it mine. And even as willingly at thy feet I leave it as others would ambitiously receive it. Farewell, good king. When I am dead and gone, may honorable peace attend thy throne.
Why, now is Henry king and Margaret queen. The staff of honor wrought, there let it stand where it best fits to be, in Henry's hand.
Thus droops this lofty pine and hangs his sprays. Thus Eleanor's pride dies in her youngest days.
Sir, what's o'clock?
10, my lord.
10 is the hour that was appointed me to watch the coming of my punished duchess. On earth may she endure the flinty streets, to tread them with her tender feeling feet. Sweet Nell, ill can thy noble mind abrook the abject people gazing on thy face with envious looks, laughing at thy shame. But soft, I think she comes, and I'll prepare my tear-stained eyes to see her miseries.
So please your grace, we'll take her from the sheriff.
No, stir not, for your lives. Let her pass by.
Come, you, my lord, to see my open shame.
Be patient, gentle Nell, forget this grief.
Ah, Gloucester, teach me to forget myself. For whilst I think I am thy married wife, and thou a prince, protector of this land, methinks I should not thus be led along and followed with a rabble that rejoice to see my tears and hear my deep-set groans. Ah, Humphrey, can I bear this shameful yoke? Trust thou that e'er I'll look upon the world, or count them happy that enjoy the sun? No, dark shall be my light, and night my day. Sometime I'll say, I am Duke Humphrey's wife, and he a prince and ruler of the land. Yet so he ruled, and such a prince he was, as he stood by whilst I, his forlorn duchess, was made a wonder and a pointing stock to every idle rascal follower. But be thou mild, and blush not at my shame, nor stir at nothing till the axe of death hang over thee, as sure it shortly will. Suffolk, he that can do all in all, with her that hateth thee and hates us all, and York and impious Beaufort, that beast, have all limed bushes to betray thy wings, and fly how thou canst. They'll tangle thee.
Nell, forbear. Thou aimest all awry. I must offend before I be attained. And had I 20 times so many foes, and each of them had 20 times their power, all these could not procure me any scathe, so long as I am loyal, true, and crimeless. Wouldst have me rescue thee from this reproach? Why, yet thy scandal were not wiped away, but I in danger for the breach of law. Thy greatest help is quiet, gentle Nell. I pray thee, sort thy heart to patience. These few days' wonder will be quickly worn. My Nell, I take my leave.
What? Gone, my lord, and bid me not farewell? Go, lead the way. I long to see my prison.
I muse my lord of Gloucester is not come. 'Tis not his wont to be the hindmost man.
Can ye not see, or will ye not observe the strangeness of his altered countenance? With what a majesty he bears himself, how insolent of late he is become, how proud, how peremptory, and unlike himself. Small curs are not regarded when they grin, but great men tremble when the lion roars, and Humphrey is no little man in England. First, note that he is near you in descent, and should you fall, he as the next will mount. Meseemeth then it is no policy, respecting what a rancorous mind he bears and his advantage following your decease, that he should come about your royal person, or be admitted to your highness's council. By flattery hath he won the commons' hearts, and when he pleased to make commotion, 'tis to be feared they all will follow him. The reverent care I bear unto my lord made me collect these dangers in the Duke. If it be fond, call it a woman's fear, which fear, if better reasons can supplant, I will subscribe and say I wronged the Duke.
Well hath your highness seen into this, Duke. And had I first been put to speak my mind, I think I should have told your grace's tale. The Duchess, by his subornation, upon my life began her devilish practices. Smooth runs the water where the brook is deep, and in this simple show he harbours treason. The fox barks not when he would steal the lamb. No, no, my sovereign, Gloucester is a man unsounded yet and full of deep deceit.
My lords, at once. The care you have of us, to mow down thorns that would annoy our foot, is worthy praise. But shall I speak my conscience? Our kinsman Gloucester is as innocent from meaning treason to our royal person as is the sucking lamb or harmless dove. The Duke is virtuous, mild, and too well given to dream on evil or to work my downfall.
Ah, what's more dangerous than this fond defiance? Seems he a dove? His feathers are but borrowed, for he's disposed as the hateful raven. Is he a lamb? His skin is surely lent him, for he's inclined as is the ravenous wolf, who cannot steal a shape that means deceit. Take heed, my lord, the welfare of us all hangs on the cutting short that fraudful man.
All health unto my gracious sovereign.
Welcome, Lord Somerset. What news from France?
That all your interest in those territories has utterly bereft you. All is lost.
Cold news, Lord Somerset. But God's will be done.
All happiness unto my lord the king. Pardon, my liege, that I have stayed so long.
Nay, Gloucester, know that thou art come too soon. Unless thou wert more loyal than thou art, I do arrest thee of high treason.
Well, Suffolk, thou shalt not see me blush, nor change my countenance for this arrest. A heart unspotted is not easily daunted. The purest spring is not so free from mud as I am clear from treason to my sovereign. Who can accuse me? Wherein am I guilty?
'Tis thought, my lord, that you took bribes of France, and being protector, stayed the soldiers' pay, by means whereof his highness hath lost France.
Is it but thought so? What are they that think it? I never robbed the soldiers of their pay, nor ever had one penny bribe from France. So help me God, as I have watched the night by night, in studying good for England.
It serves you well, my lord, to say so much.
I say no more than truth, so help me God.
In your protectorship you did devise strange tortures for offenders never heard of, that England was defamed by tyranny.
Why, 'tis well known that whiles I was protector, pity was all the fault that was in me, for I should melt at an offender's tears, and lowly words were ransom for their fault.
My lord, these faults are easy, quickly answered, but mightier crimes are laid unto your charge, whereof you cannot easily purge yourself. I do arrest you in his highness' name, and here commit you to my lord cardinal to keep until your further time of trial.
My lord of Gloucester, 'tis my special hope that you will clear yourself from all suspect. My conscience tells me you are innocent.
Gracious Lord, these days are dangerous. Virtue is choked with foul ambition, and charity chased hence by rancor's hand. I know their complot is to have my life, and if my death might make this island happy and prove the period of their tyranny, I would expend it with all willingness. But mine is made the prologue to their play, for thousands more that yet suspect no peril will conclude their plotted tragedy.
Arrest the sense and hold us here all day. Lord Cardinal, he is your prisoner.
Sirs, take away the Duke and guard him sure.
Thus King Henry throws away his crutch before his legs be firm to bear his body. Thus is the shepherd beaten from thy side, and wolves are gnarling who shall gnaw thee first.
My lords, what to your wisdom seemeth best, do or undo as if ourself were here.
What, will your highness leave the parliament?
I, Margaret! My heart is drowned with grief, whose flood begins to flow within mine eyes. Uncle Humphrey, in thy face I see on the map of honor, truth, and loyalty. What lowering star now envies thy estate, that these great lords and Margaret, our queen, do seek subversion of thy harmless life? Thou never didst them wrong, nor no man wrong. And as the butcher takes away the calf and binds the wretch and beats it when it strains, bearing it to the bloody slaughterhouse, even so remorseless have they borne him hence. And as the dam runs lowing up and down, looking the way her harmless young one went, and can do naught but wail her darling's loss, even so myself bewails good Gloucester's case with sad, unhelpful tears, and with dimmed eyes look after him and cannot do him good, so mighty are his vowed enemies. His fortunes I will weep, and twixt each groan say, who's a traitor? Gloucester? He is none.
Henry, my lord, is cold in great affairs, too full of foolish pity, and Gloucester's show beguiles him as the mournful crocodile with sorrow snares relenting passengers. Believe me, lords, were none more wise than I, and yet herein I judge mine own wit good. This Gloucester should be quickly rid the world to rid us of the fear we have of him.
That he should die is worthy policy, but yet we want a colour for his death. 'Tis meet he be condemned by course of law.
But in my mind that were no policy. The king will labour still to save his life, the commons haply rise to save his life, and yet we have but trivial argument, more than mistrust, that shows him worthy death.
So that by this you would not have him die?
Ah, York, no man alive so fain as I.
Say as you think, and speak it from your souls. Were it not all one, an empty eagle were set to guard the chicken from the hungry kite, as placed Duke Humphrey for the king's protector?
So the poor chicken should be sure of death.
Madam, 'tis true. And were it not madness then to make the fox surveyor of the fold? No, let him die in that he is a fox, by nature proved an enemy to the flock, and do not stand on quillets how to slay him.
Thrice noble Suffolk 'tis resolutely spoke.
Seeing the deed is meritorious, and to preserve my sovereign from his foe, but say the word, and I will be his priest.
But I would have him dead, my lord of Suffolk, ere you can take due orders for a priest. Say you consent and censure well the deed, and I'll provide his executioner. I tender so the safety of my liege.
Here is my hand. The deed is worth the doing.
And so say I.
And I. And now we three have spoken. It skills not greatly who impugns our doom.
Great lords, from Ireland am I come amain to signify that rebels there are up and put the Englishmen under the sword. Send succors, lords, to stop the rage betimes before the wound do grow incurable.
A breach that craves a quick expedient stop. What counsel give you in this weighty cause?
That Somerset be sent as regent thither. 'Tis meet that lucky ruler be employed. Witness the fortune he hath had in France.
York, with all his far-fetched policy, had been the regent there instead of me, he never would have stayed in France so long.
No, and not to lose it all as thou hast done.
Say then this spark will prove a raging fire if wind and fuel be brought to feed it with. No more, good York. Sweet Somerset, be still.
My lord of York, try what your fortune is. To Ireland will you lead a band of men collected choicely from each county some, and try your hap against the Irishmen?
I will, my lord, so please his majesty.
Why, our authority is his consent, and what we do establish he confirms. Then, noble York, take thou this task in hand.
I am content. Provide me soldiers, lords, while I take order for mine own affairs.
A charge, Lord York, that I will see performed. But now return we to the false Duke Humphrey.
No more of him, for I will deal with him that henceforth he shall trouble us no more. And so break off. The day is almost spent. Lord Suffolk, you and I must talk of that event.
Now, York, or never, steel thy fearful thoughts and change misdoubt to resolution. Let pale-faced fear keep with the mean-born man and find no harbour in a royal heart. Faster than springtime showers comes thought on thought, and not a thought but thinks on dignity. My brain, more busy than the labouring spider, weaves tedious snares to trap mine enemies. Well, nobles, well, 'tis politically done to send me packing with a host of men. 'Twas men I lacked, and you will give them me. I take it kindly, and yet be well assured you put sharp weapons in a madman's hands. Whiles I in Ireland nourish a mighty band, I will stir up in England some black storm shall blow 10,000 souls to heaven or hell. I have seduced a headstrong Kentishman, John Cade of Ashford, to make commotion, as full well he can, under the title of John Mortimer. For that John Mortimer, which now is dead, in face, in gait, in speech, he doth resemble. By this I shall perceive the commons' mind, how they affect the house and claim of York. Say he be taken, racked, and tortured, I know no pain they can afflict on him will make him say I moved him to those arms. Say that he thrive, as 'tis great like he will. Why then from Ireland come I with my strength, and reap the harvest which that rascal sowed. For Humphrey being dead, as he shall be, and Henry put apart, the next for me.
Bum, ba, bum.
Go. Call our uncle to our presence straight. Say we intend to try his grace today if he be guilty as 'tis published.
I'll call him presently, my noble lord.
Lords, take your places, and I pray you all, proceed no straighter against our uncle Gloucester than from true evidence of good esteem he be approved in practice culpable.
God forbid any malice should prevail that faultless may condemn a nobleman. Pray God he may acquit him of suspicion.
I thank thee, Meg. These words content me much. How now? Why look'st thou pale? Why tremblest thou? Where is our uncle? What's the matter, Suffolk?
Dead in his bed, my lord Gloucester is dead.
Mary, God forfend! How fares my gracious lord?
Comfort, my sovereign, gracious Henry, comfort.
What doth my lord of Suffolk comfort me? Hide not thy poison in such sugared words. Lay not thy hands on me. Forbear, I say. Their touch affrights me as a serpent's sting. Look not upon me, for thine eyes are wounding. Oh, yet do not go away. Come, basilisk, and kill the innocent gazer with thy sight, for in the shade of death I shall find joy, in life but double death, now Gloucester's dead.
Why do you rate my lord of Suffolk thus? Although the Duke was enemy to him, yet he most Christian-like laments his death. And for myself, foe as he was to me, might liquid tears or heart-offending groans or blood-consuming sighs recall his life, I would be blind with weeping, sick with groans, look pale as primrose with blood-drinking sighs, and all to have the noble Duke alive.
Oh, woe is me for Gloucester, wretched man.
Be woe for me, more wretched than he is. What? Dost thou turn away and hide thy face? I am no loathsome leper, look on me. Is all thy comfort shut in Gloucester's tomb? Why then, Dame Margaret was ne'er thy joy. Was I for this nigh wrecked upon the sea, and twice by awkward wind from England's bank drove back against unto my native clime? What boded this but well forewarning wind did seem to say, seek not a scorpion's nest, nor set no footing on this unkind shore? Did I then but curse the gentle gusts and bid them blow towards England's blessed shore, or turn our stern upon a dreadful rock? Yet Aeolus would not be a murderer, but left that hateful office unto thee. The pretty vaulting sea refused to drown me, knowing that thou wouldst have me drowned on shore, with tears as salt as sea through thy unkindness. Living rocks cowered in the sinking sands and would not dash me with their ragged sides, because thy flinty heart, more hard than they, might in thy praise perish, Margaret. I can no more. Die, Margaret, for Henry weeps that thou dost live so long.
Oh, there! It is reported, mighty sovereign, the good Duke Humphrey traitorously is murdered by Suffolk and the Cardinal Beaufort's means. The commons, like an angry hive of bees that want their leader, scatter up and down and care not who they sting in his revenge. Myself have calmed their spleenful mutiny until they hear the order of his death.
That he is dead, good Warwick, is too true. But how he died, God knows, not Henry. Enter his chamber, view his breathless corpse, and comment then upon his sudden death.
That shall I do, my liege. Stay, Salisbury, with the rude multitude till I return.
O God, O thou that judgest all things, stay my thoughts that labor to persuade my soul some violent hands were laid on Humphrey's life. If my suspect be false, forgive me, God, for judgment only doth belong to thee.
Come hither, gracious sovereign, view this body.
That is to see how deep my grave is made. For with his soul fled all my worldly solace. For seeing him, I see my life in death.
As surely as my soul intends to live, I do believe that violent hands were laid upon the life of this thrice-famed duke.
A dreadful oath, sworn with a solemn tongue. What instance gives Lord Warwick for his vow?
We'll see how the blood is settled in his face. Oft have I seen a timely parted ghost, of ashy semblance, meagre, pale and bloodless. But see, his face is black and full of blood, his eyeballs further out than when he lived, staring full ghastly like a strangled man. His hair upreared, his nostrils stretched with struggling, his hands abroad displayed, as one that grasped and tugged for life and was by strength subdued. It cannot be but he was murdered here. The least of these signs were probable.
Why, Warwick, who should do the Duke to death? Myself and Beaufort had him in protection, and we, I hope, sir, are no murderers.
But both of you were vowed Duke Humphrey's foes, and you, forsooth, had the good Duke to keep. 'Tis like you would not feast him like a friend, and 'tis well seen he found an enemy.
And you, belike, suspect these noblemen as guilty of Duke Humphrey's timeless death?
Who finds the heifer dead and bleeding fresh, and sees fast by a butcher with an axe, but will suspect 'twas he that made the slaughter. Even so suspicious is this tragedy.
Are you the butcher, Suffolk? Where's your knife?
I wear no knife to slaughter sleeping men, but here's a vengeful sword, rusted with ease, that shall be scoured in his rancorous heart that slanders me the murder's crimson badge. Say, if thou darest, proud Lord of Warwickshire, that I am faulty in Duke Humphrey's death.
What dares not Warwick if false Suffolk dare him?
He dares not calm his contumelious spirit, nor cease to be an arrogant controller, though Suffolk dare him 20,000 times.
Madam, be still. With reverence may I say, for every word you speak in his behalf is slander to your royal dignity.
Blunt-witted lord, ignoble in demeanour. If ever lady wronged her lord so much, thy mother took into her blameful bed some stern, untutored churl, whose fruit thou art, and never of the Neville's noble race.
But that the guilt of murder bucklers thee, and I should rob the deathsman of his fee, I'd give thee thy hire, and send thy soul to hell, pernicious bloodsucker of sleeping men.
Thou shalt be waking when I shed thy blood, if from this presence thou darest go with me.
Away even now, and I will drag thee hence, and do some service to Duke Humphrey's ghost.
Why, how now, lords? Your wrathful weapons drawn here, in our presence, dare you be so bold?
Dread lord, the commons send you word by me. Unless Lord Suffolk straight be done to death or banished fair England's territories, they will by violence tear him from your palace, and torture him with grievous lingering death. They say by him the good Duke Humphrey died. They say in him they fear your highness' death.
Go, Salisbury, and tell them all from me. I thank them for their tender loving care, and had I not been cited so by them, yet did I purpose, as they do entreat. And therefore, by his majesty I swear, whose far unworthy deputy I am, Suffolk shall not breathe infection in this air but 3 days longer on the pain of death.
Oh, Henry, let me plead for gentle Suffolk.
Ungentle queen, to call him gentle Suffolk. No more, I say. If thou dost plead for him, thou wilt but add increase to my wrath. Had I but said, I would have kept my word, but when I swear, it is irrevocable. Suffolk, if after 3 days' space thou be here found on any ground that I am ruler of, the world shall not be ransom for thy life.
Miss and sorrow go along with you. Heart's discontent and sour affliction be playfellows to keep you company.
Cease, gentle queen, these excoriations, and let thy Suffolk take his leave.
Coward woman and soft-hearted wretch, hast thou not spirit to curse thine enemy?
The plague upon them! Wherefore should I curse them? Would curses kill, as doth the mandrake's groan, I would invent as bitter searching terms, as cursed, as harsh and horrible to hear, as lean-faced envy in her loathsome cave. Gall, worse than gall, the daintiest they taste, their chiefest prospect murdering basilisks, their softest touch as smart as lizards' sting, their frightful music as the serpent's hiss, and boding screech owls make the concert full, all the foul terrors in dark-seated hell.
Enough, sweet Suffolk, thou torment'st thyself. These curses, like an o'ercharged gun, recoil and turn the force of them upon thyself.
You bade me ban, and will you bid me leave? Now by the ground that I am banished from, well could I curse away a winter's night, though standing naked on a mountain top, and think it but a minute spent in sport.
Oh, let me entreat thee, cease. Give me thy hand, that I may dew it with my mournful tears. So get thee gone, that I may know my grief. 'Tis but surmised whilst thou art standing by. Go, speak not to me, even now be gone. Oh, go not yet. Even thus two friends condemned embrace and kiss and take 10,000 leaves. Yet now, farewell, and farewell life with thee.
Thus is poor Suffolk 10 times banished, once by the king, and thrice times thrice by thee. For where thou art, there is the world itself, with every several pleasure in the world, and where thou art not, desolation.
Now get thee hence. The king, thou knowest, is coming. If thou be found by me, thou art but dead.
If I depart from thee, I cannot live. Oh, let me stay, befall what may befall.
Away! The parting be a fretful course if it is applied to a deathful wound. To France, sweet Suffolk, let me hear from thee.
I go.
And take my heart with thee.
A jewel, locked into the wofullest cask that ever did contain a thing of worth. Even as a splitted bark, so sunder we. This way fall I to death.
This way for me.
Cade!
We, John Cade, so termed of our supposed father, command silence!
Silence!
My father was a Mortimer. My mother, a Plantagenet, my wife descended of the Lacys.
His father was a bricklayer, his mother was a midwife, and his wife's a peddler's daughter who sold laces.
Therefore am I of an honourable house.
Aye, by my faith, the field is honourable, and there he was born under a head.
Valiant I am.
Beggary is valiant.
I am able to endure much.
No question of that, for I have seen him whipped 3 market days together.
I fear neither sword nor fire. Be brave then. For your captain is brave and vows reformation. When I am king, as king I will be.
God save your majesty!
Hew, good people, there shall be no money. All shall eat and drink on my score, and I will apparel them all in one livery, that they may agree like brothers and worship me, their lord.
The first thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers.
Nay, that I mean to do. Is this not a lamentable thing, that the skin of an innocent lamb should be made parchment? That parchment, being scribbled o'er, should undo a man? Now, who's there?
The clerk of Chatham. He can write and read and cast a compt.
Oh, monstrous, he is a villain.
Oh, has a book in his pocket with red letters in it.
Nay then, he's a conjurer.
Nay, you can make obligations and write court end.
I'm sorry for it, but unless I find him guilty, he shall not die. Come hither, sirrah. I must examine thee. What is thy name?
Emmanuel?
Dost thou use to write thy name, or hast thou a mark to thyself like an honest plain-dealing man?
Sir, I thank God I have been so well brought up that I can write my name.
He confessed! Away with him!
He's a
villain and a traitor!
Away with him, I say. Hang him with his pen and his inkhorn around his neck.
Where is our general?
Here I am.
Fly! Sir Humphrey Stafford and his brothers are hard by with the king's forces.
Stand, villain, stand, or I'll fell thee down. He shall be encountered with a man as good as himself. He is but a knight, is he? To equal him, I will make myself a knight. Rise up, Sir John Mortimer. Now have at him.
Earliest hands! The filth and scum of Kent! Mark for the gallows, lay your weapons down! Home to your cottages, forsake this room! The king is merciful if you return!
But angry, wrathful, and inclined to blood if you go forward, therefore yield or die!
As for these silken-coated slaves, I care not. It is to you, good people, that I speak, for I am rightful heir unto the crown.
Villain, thy father was a plasterer!
And Adam was a gardener.
But what of that?
Marry this. Edmund Mortimer, Earl of March, married the Duke of Clarence's daughter, did he not?
Aye, sir.
By her, he had 2 children at one birth.
Then that's false.
Aye, there's the question, but I say 'tis true. The elder of them, being put to nurse, was by a beggar woman stolen away, and ignorant of his birth and parentage, became a bricklayer when he came to age. His son, am I? Deny it if you can.
Nay, it's true, therefore he shall be king.
Sir, he made a chimney in my father's house, and the bricks are alive at this day to testify. Therefore, deny it not.
Will you credit this base drudge's words that speaks he knows not what?
Marry will win. Therefore,
Get ye gone!
Cade, the Duke of York hath taught you this.
He lies, for I invented it myself. Go to, sirrah, tell the king from me that for his father's sake, Henry V, I am content he shall reign, but I'll be protector over him.
And furthermore, we'll have the Lord Say's head selling the dukedom of Maine.
And more than that, he can speak French, and therefore he's a traitor.
Gross and miserable ignorance.
The Frenchmen are our enemies. I ask but this. Can he that speaks with the tongue of an enemy be a good counsellor?
No!
And therefore we'll have his head.
Well, see, gentle words will not prevail. Assail them with the army of the king!
Herald away, and throw at every town, proclaim them traitors that are up with Cade. Those that which fly before the battle ends may, even in their wives' and children's sight, be hanged up for example at their doors. And you that be the king's friends, follow me.
And you that love the commons, follow me. Now show yourselves men. 'Tis for liberty. Where's Dick, the butcher of Ashford?
Yes, sir.
They fell before thee like sheep and oxen, and now behaves thyself as if thou hadst been thine own slaughterhouse. Therefore, thus will I reward thee. The Lent shall be as long again as it is, and thou shalt have a licence to kill 100 lacking one.
I desire no more.
This monument of the victory will I bear. And the bodies shall be dragged at my horse heels till I do come to London, where we will have the mayor's sword borne before us.
If we mean to thrive and do good, break open the jail and let out the prisoners.
Fear not that, I warrant thee. Come, let's march towards London.
Oft have I heard that grief softens the mind and makes it fearful and degenerate. Think therefore on revenge and cease to weep. But who can cease to weep and look on this? Here may his head lie in my throbbing breast, but where's the body that I should embrace?
What answer makes your grace to the rebels' supplication?
I'll send some holy bishop to entreat, for God forbid so many simple souls should perish by the sword. And I myself, rather than bloody war, shall cut them short. Will parley with Jack Cade, their general. Stay, I'll read it over once again.
Barbarous villains! Hath this lovely face ruled like a wandering planet over me, and could it not enforce them to relent that were unworthy to behold the same?
How now, madam? Still lamenting and mourning for Suffolk's death? I fear me, love, that if I had been dead, thou wouldst not have mourned so much for me.
No, my love, I should not mourn but die for thee.
How now? What news? Why comest thou in such haste?
The rebels are in Southwark. Fly, my lord. Jack Cade proclaims himself Lord Mortimer and vows to crown himself in Westminster. His army is a ragged multitude of hinds and peasants, rude and merciless. All scholars, lawyers, courtiers, gentlemen, they all call false caterpillars and intend their death.
Oh, graceless men, they know not what they do.
Gracious Lord, return to Killingworth until a power be raised to put them down.
Ah, were the Duke of Suffolk now alive, these Kentish rebels would soon be appeased.
Lord say, the traitors hate thee, therefore away with us to Killingworth.
So might your grace's person be in danger, and therefore in this city will I stay, and live alone as secret as I may.
Come, Margaret, God, our hope, will succor us.
My hope is gone now Suffolk is deceased.
Farewell, my lord. Trust not the Kentish rebels.
Trust nobody, for fear you be betrayed.
The trust I have in mine innocence, and therefore am I bold and resolute.
Now is Mortimer lord of this city. And here, sitting upon London stone, I charge and command that of the city's cost, the pissing conduit run nothing but claret wine the first year of our reign. And now, henceforward, it shall be called treason for any that calls me other than Lord Mortimer.
Jack Cade! Jack Cade!
Knock him down there!
If this fellow be wise, he'll never call you Jack Cade more. I think he hath a very fair warning.
My lord, a prize! A prize! Here's the Lord Say, which sold the towns in France.
Well, he shall be beheaded for it 10 times. Ah, I am the besom that must sweep the court clean of such filth as thou art. Thou hast most traitorously corrupted the youth of the realm in erecting a grammar school. And whereas before our forefathers have had no books but the score and the tally, thou hast caused printing to be used, and contrary to the king, his crown and dignity, thou hast built a paper mill. It will be proved to thy face that thou hast men about thee that usually talk of a noun and a verb, and such abominable words as no Christian can endure to hear. Moreover, thou hast put poor men in prison, and because they could not read, thou hast hanged them, when indeed only for that cause they have been most worthy to live.
You men of Kent.
What say you, Kent?
Nothing but this. 'Tis bona terra malagens.
Away with him, he speaks Latin.
Hear me but speak, and bear me where you will. Kent, in the commentary Caesar writ, is termed the civilest place of this isle. Sweet is the country because full of riches, the people liberal, valiant, active, wealthy, which makes me hope you are not void of pity. Unless you be possessed with devilish spirits, you cannot but forbear to murder me.
Take him away and behead him.
Whom have I injured that you seek my death? Oh, let me live.
Go, take him away, I say, and strike off his head presently, and then break into his son-in-law's house, Sir James Cromer, and strike off his head and bring them both upon 2 poles hither.
It shall be done.
Stay with him and do as I command ye. The proudest peer in the realm shall not wear a head on his shoulders unless he pay me tribute. Men shall hold of me in capite.
My lord, when shall we go to Cheapside and take up commodities upon our build?
Marry presently.
Brave.
Oh, but is not this braver? Oh, let them kiss another, for they loved well when they were alive. Now were these heads born before us instead of maces, we will ride through the streets and at every corner have them kiss. Away.
Come, here we go.
What noise is this I hear? Dare any be so bold to sound retreat or parley when I command them kill?
Right, here they be that dare and will disturb thee. No, Cade. We come ambassadors from the king unto the commons whom thou hast misled. And here pronounce free pardon to them all that will forsake thee and go home in peace.
What say ye, countrymen? Will ye relent and yield to mercy whilst 'tis offered you, or let a rebel lead you to your deaths, who loves the king and will embrace his pardon, fling up his cap and say, God save his majesty, who hateth him and honors not his father, Henry the Fifth, that made all of France quake? Shake he his weapon at us and pass by.
God save the king! God save
the king! Buckingham and Clifford, are you so brave? And you base peasants, do you believe him? Will you need to be hanged with your pardons about your necks, your recreants and dastards to delight to live in slavery to the nobility? Let them break your backs with burthens, take your houses over your heads, ravish your wives and your daughters before your faces. For me, I will make shift for one, and so God's curse light upon you all.
No, we'll follow Jack Cade! We'll follow Cade!
Is Cade the son of Henry the Fifth, that thus you do exclaim you'll go with him? Will he conduct you through the heart of France and make the meanest of you earls and dukes? Alas, he hath no home, no place to fly to. Nor knows he how to live but by the spoil, unless by robbing of your friends and us. Henry hath money.
Oh, Clifford! Clifford! We'll follow the king, Clifford, with the money.
So lightly blown to and fro is this multitude. The name of Henry the Fifth hails them to 100 mischiefs and makes them leave me desolate. I see them lay their heads together to surprise me. My sword make way for me, for here is no staying.
What? Is he fled? Go, some, and follow him, and he that brings his head unto the king shall have 1,000 crowns for his reward. Follow me, soldiers. We'll devise a mean to reconcile you all unto the king.
Was ever king that joyed an earthly throne and could command no more content than I? No sooner was I crept out of my cradle, but I was made a king at 9 months old. Was never subject long to be a king as I do long and wish to be a subject.
Health and glad tidings to your majesty.
Why, Buckingham, is the traitor Cade surprised, or is he but retired to make him strong?
He is fled, my lord, and all his powers do yield, and humbly thus, with halters on their necks, expect your highness's doom of life or death.
Then heaven set ope thy everlasting gates to entertain my vows of thanks and praise. Soldiers, this day you have redeemed your lives and showed how well you love your prince and country. Continued still in this so good a mind, and Henry, though he be infortunate, assure yourselves, will never be unkind. And so, with thanks and pardon to you all, I do dismiss you to your several countries.
God save the king!
God save the king!
Please it your grace to be advised that the Duke of York is newly come from Ireland, and with a puissant and mighty power is marching hitherward in proud array, and still proclaimeth as he comes along, his arms are only to remove from thee the Duke of Somerset, whom he terms traitor.
Thus stands my state twixt Cade and York distressed, like to a ship that having scaped a tempest is straightway calmed and boarded with a pirate. Now is Cade driven back, his men dispersed, and now is York in arms to second him. I pray thee, Buckingham, go and meet him. Come, wife, let's in and learn to govern better, for yet may England curse my wretched reign.
From Ireland thus comes York to claim his right and pluck the crown from feeble Henry's head. Ring bells aloud, burn bonfires clear and bright to entertain great England's lawful king. Whom have we here? Buckingham to disturb me? The king hath sent him sure. I must dissemble.
York, if thou meanest well, I greet thee well.
Humphrey of Buckingham, I accept thy greeting.
And what intends these forces thou dost bring?
To heave the traitor Somerset from hence.
That is too much presumption on thy part. But if thy arms be to no other end, the king hath yielded unto thy demand. The Duke of Somerset is in the Tower.
Upon mine honour, is he prisoner?
Upon my honour, he is prisoner.
Then, Buckingham, I do dismiss my powers. Soldiers, I thank you all. Disperse yourselves. Meet me tomorrow in St. George's Field. You shall have pay and everything you wish. In all submission and humility, York will present himself unto his majesty. How now? Is Somerset at liberty? Then, York, unloose thy long imprisoned thoughts, and let thy tongue be equal to thy heart. Shall I endure the sight of Somerset? False king, why hast thou broken faith with me? King did I call thee? No, thou art not king, not fit to govern and rule multitudes, which darest not, no, canst not rule a traitor. That head of thine doth not become a crown. Thy hand is made to grasp a palmer's staff, and not to grace an awful princely sceptre. That gold must round and girt these brows of mine. Here is a hand to hold the sceptre up, and with the same act of controlling laws give place. By heaven thou shalt rule no more, or him whom heaven created for thy ruler.
Oh, monstrous traitor, I arrest thee, York, of capital treason against the king and crown.
Sirrah, call in my sons to be my bail.
Call hither Clifford, bid him come amain to say if that the bastard boys of York shall be the surety for their traitor father.
Blood-bespotted Neapolitan, outcast of Naples, England's bloody scourge, the sons of York, thy betters at their birth, shall be their father's bale and bane to those. See where they come. I'll warrant they'll make it good.
And here comes Clifford to deny their bail.
Health and all happiness to my lord the king.
I thank thee, Clifford. Say, what news with thee? Nay, do not fright us with an angry look. We are thy sovereign, Clifford. Kneel again. For thy mistaking so, we pardon thee.
This is my king, York. I do not mistake. To Bedlam with him. The man's grown mad.
Aye, Clifford. A bedlam and ambitious humour makes him oppose himself against his king.
He is a traitor. Let him to the Tower and chop away that factious pate of his.
He is arrested, but will not obey. His sons, he says, shall give their words for him.
Will you not, sons?
Aye, noble father, if our words will serve.
And if words will not, then our weapons shall.
Why, what a brood of traitors have we here?
Look in a glass, and call thy image so. I am thy king, and thou a false heart traitor. Call hither to the stake my two brave bears, that with the very shaking of their chains they may astonish these fell-licking curs. Bid Salisbury and Warwick come to me.
Are these thy bears? We'll bait thy bears to death and manacle the bear ward in their chains if thou darest bring them to the baiting place.
Why, Warwick, Hath thy knee forgot to bow? Salisbury, shame to thy silver hair! Oh, where is faith? Where is loyalty? Go dig a grave to find out war, and shame thine honorable age with blood?
My lord, I have considered with myself the title of this most renowned duke, and in my conscience do repute his grace the rightful heir to England's royal seat.
Hast thou not sworn allegiance unto me?
I have.
Canst thou dispense with heaven for such an oath?
It is great sin to swear unto a sin, but greater sin to keep an sinful oath.
Subtle traitor needs no sophister.
Call Buckingham, and bid him arm himself.
O Buckingham, and all the friends thou hast, I am resolved for death or dignity.
I am resolved to bear a greater storm than any thou canst conjure up today.
And so to arms, victorious father, to quell the rebels and their accomplices!
Ay, charity for shame, speak not in spite, for you shall sup with Jesu Christ tonight.
Ow, stigmatic! That's more than thou canst tell.
If not in heaven, you'll surely sup in hell.
Ah!
What seest thou in me, York? Why dost thou pause?
With thy brave bearing should I be in love, but that thou art so fast mine enemy.
Nor should thy prowess want praise and esteem, but that 'tis shown ignobly and in treason.
So let it help me now against thy sword, as I in justice and true right express it.
My soul and body on action both.
A dreadful lay, address thee instantly. Thus war hath given thee peace, for thou art still. Peace with his soul, heaven, if it be thy will.
All is on the rout. Fear frames disorder, and disorder wounds where it should guard. Oh, let the vile world end. And at this sight, my heart is turned to stone. York, not our old men spares, nor more will I their babes. Henceforth, I will not have to do with pity.
So, lie thou there. Sword, hold thy temper. Heart, be wrathful still. Priests pray for enemies, but princes kill.
Away, my lord, you are slow. For shame, away!
Can we outrun the heavens? Good Margaret, stay!
What are you made of? You'll nor fight nor fly. Was it manhood, wisdom, and defense to give the enemy way and to secure us by what we can, which can no more but fly? If you be ta'en, we then should see the bottom of all our fortunes. But if we haply scape, as well we may, if not through your neglect, we shall to London get, where you are loved, and where this breach now in our fortunes may readily be stopped.
But that my heart's on future mischief set, I would speak blasphemy or bid you fly. But fly you must. Away, my lord, away!
Ah!
Now by my sword, well hast thou fought today. By the mass, so did we all. I thank you, Richard. God knows how long it is I have to live. And it hath pleased him that 3 times today you have defended me from imminent death.
And as I hear the king is fled to London, to call a present court of parliament, let us pursue him ere the writs go forth. What says Lord Warwick? Shall we after them?
After them? Nay, before them if we can. Now, by my faith, lords, 'twas a glorious day. St. Albans' battle won by famous York shall be eternized in all age to come. Sound drums and trumpets, and to London all. and more such days as these to us befall.
Yay! Congratulations, everyone.
Oh, that was fun.
That was very, very fun. Okay, so at the beginning of this, we're going to start our Q&A, and our first question that we always do is, what did you learn about the play that you didn't know before?
I didn't know that the host could unvision me.
You're probably getting muted and unmuted at the beginning. Somewhere.
Yes. Thank you, host.
I learned a lot about Margaret. I know her most as, you know, a figure at the end of the Wars of the Roses, as this person who's just like, oh, she talks about everything she's been through, but it's mostly, you know, storied and passed along as she remembers it. But to see her actually beginning through this cycle of grief that, you know, she's just going to get tossed through in the next two plays, really, it grounded a lot of things that I understood about her. It's like seeing her as an angry character later makes a lot of sense when you see her as a pained character now.
Yeah, I totally get on board with you on that. And also, when you listen to what she says, she's quite astute in her politics, and she's quite astute in her strategy. She knows what to do in a war, and it's even worse that she's never listened to.
Something else? Monty, do you have anything else in YouTube?
Oh, yeah. Jack Cade is hilarious. Agreed.
Yeah, totally.
I will say, actually, that inspires me. I didn't realize that Jack Cade could also be heartbreaking and hilarious. Like that, I was interested in that experience right now, especially with what you brought to it, Emma. Because it didn't lose any of that hilarity, but it also had very different resonances.
Well, he's like for the people, right? But he's been duped the whole time. He's just a pawn and while he's lecturing them in being a pawn, he's like the ultimate pawn in this vast game of Yorks. And he's just there because he can take the pain, because he's one of those guys that bears the burden, right? So he's one of the trudgers, and it's really sad. I think it's funny, especially if you get all the jokes. But which nobody does anymore. But he's a really interesting character in terms of the politics, the social politics.
Yeah, there's a lovely longer description in the full version when York describes how what an amazing fighter Cade is. It's just like he's got no nerve ends. He goes in there, he takes arrows, he takes everything, and then just has a laugh afterwards.
Yeah, there's some description of him being like a porcupine with all the arrows sticking in him. He's just like a pain machine. Will just take it and take it and take it. And there's something about that kind of model of the man in the street, the common. There's a kind of anger and a fury, but they'll just take it. It's sort of the disregard from the nobles of the common man. even though he's an uncommon man.
I think there's something in that terror of Jack Cade, of not only a yes and to just taking it, but that it's like gasoline on the fire. With every error that comes in, it's just like, until they can't go any further, it's a perfect pawn in that response, in that way. It's beautifully played, Emma.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
And the only other stuff on the YouTube on this one are love of the teddy bears, which isn't really new, but it came in during this question, so gotta always shout out some love for Wilson. I don't like how much I have to watch Wilson in these horrible situations and death and tragedy. It's difficult. We also have Queen Margaret sent many chills, and that her, I believe, being Queen Margaret, that her weapons are not swords.
That's true. Today it was like drama ocean. I did love how today Deb Kinghorn, like, I don't know, I don't think I've ever seen Henry VI played so well in that, like, really getting to, like, that he's so pained. But then, like, it never made sense to me, that speech where she's like, come on, be sad for me, until I saw you, like, just losing it, and then I was like, come on. I guess I have to be more dramatic now too. It was amazing. But those two things, it like always felt inappropriate to me whenever I read it, and then having it be there in the moment, I was like, oh, I get it now. Okay.
Yeah, you really get the sense that that she is having to do her damnedest to pull him out of this horrible downward spiral. He is going to fail right then and there in front of everybody. And she is the only one who can say, I gotta make this. And she does it by saying, turn your attention to me, turn your attention to me, take it off of him, put it on me. And it puts him in another kind of bind, because he wants to mourn his loss.
So we have the second question, first for the cast and then for the audience. What image, phrase, or word from the play stuck out to you today?
I think
If I may, sorry, Colin.
The extraordinary image of Wilson actually saying, I'll bear you. Of it is bearing his father's body. That's something I've never noticed before.
If I
I'm
may,
a bit moved. I'm going to have to walk away in a moment.
I was going to jump on Emma's.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I was really struck by the number of beheadings. So many heads in it. And the descriptions of faces and heads and body parts, it's really kind of, and I guess because it's, I don't know, sorry to get over the top here, but I guess because it's about the kingship, which is the head in the body politic, it's all kind of ramped up around the imagery of the head of the state, the head of the country, and then you just get all these lopped off heads. It's quite kind of gory, and yeah, I enjoyed that kind of.
That whole description of a dead body and the difference between a dead body that was murdered and a dead body that died of natural causes, and the detail that he goes into of the sort of black-blooded face, that life has been snuffed out quickly rather than slowly.
Yeah, I love that. I never heard that before really properly. Yeah. It was great.
I was struck by the gruesome language about the butchery of the calf, and dragging the calf off the slaughter. That seemed very modern to me in a way.
We've spoken over the histories about the amount of times, and in the Roman trilogy, about the number of times that royalty and nobles have paid no attention to the people that they're supposed to lead. And this is the first time we see a rebellion from the people. And that struck me today, that the people finally had a voice.
Oh, yes. Gosh. Yeah.
That's true.
I felt that even hanging out, watching the scene. There were a couple times when I was in the scene and I was like, uh-oh, what's happening in my eyeballs? I think tears are coming. This character gives 0 Fs about what's happening, but Chrissy, the person, was like, uh-oh, like the world is a mess and all of these things are coming to light. So I lift up in second, yeah, what you said. It's like there's some serious stuff inside here.
Oh, yes, and Matt, if I may, just to say, in terms of having to say a line out loud and bury things down deep that were not consistent with the character. When Buckingham says, "Thy cruelty and execution upon offenders hath exceeded law, and left thee to the mercy of the law." I almost had to stop, but that line resonated today in a way that I don't know that it would have a week ago.
I saw, for me, I noticed the parallels with Richard II, with York being the one that went to Ireland, and then when he came back, expecting himself to be the king, just like Richard, who was the king at the time. You know, really, it's like an inverse of what happens in Dickie 2, and that was the first time I've seen that pop out so clearly. It came to me yesterday as we were reading through it, but tonight was really stuck out and went like, oh, yes. So,
Monty, you have something?
Yeah, on the YouTube we have a lot on this one. So first, put sharp weapons in a madman's hands caught someone's ear on YouTube, especially in a time when we have too many madmen in charge across the world. Also, lean-faced envy in her loathsome cave stuck out as a great phrase. First thing, let's kill all the lawyers. To be honest, my mom said that, and she's a lawyer, so I can tell you why that stuck out to her. And also 2 phrases. Small curs are not regarded when they... I can't see. Small curs are not regarded when they grin, but great men tremble when the lion roars. And henceforth, I will not have to do with pity.
I got one more I want to share here before we move on, and that is Warwick's line, "Who finds the heifer dead and bleeding fresh, and sees fast by a butcher with an axe, but will suspect 'twas he that made the slaughter. Even so suspicious is this tragedy." I don't think that we can think of George Floyd and not see it in this. The heifer dead and bleeding fresh, and stands fast by the butcher with the axe. So that sort of is a bridge into what we're going to talk about next, but it stuck out to me so strongly today.
So as Deb said, moving on to the third question and last question, why is this play relevant to do today, or why is it not relevant to you today?
It's relevant to me today because it's pointing out, you know, as much as I like Henry and I think he's a great guy and everything, he's a poor leader. He's a terrible leader. And when you don't have strong leaders, and I don't mean people who are, you know, necessarily martial, but if you don't have a strong leader, people who respect other people, just basic humanity, then you continue to stir up and cause horrible destruction across every part of your society. And we are seeing that happen today because we have terrible leaders, and we have therefore, as Chrissy was saying and as Tosh was saying, we now have a group of the commoners of our country who are rearing up, rising up, and who are saying, no more, no more. And I just hope to God that we can continue to rise up. That's what this play means. That's how it strikes me, is that we need to rise up. As you can see in this play, the commoners that do rise up are quickly led astray. We'll follow you. No, we'll follow you. Oh, no, we'll follow you, just like is happening now. We need strong leadership, and this points it out better than any play I know.
Henry says in one of those scenes where they're talking about Cade and the rebels, he just kind of laments, "Oh, graceless men, they know not what they do." And I think looking out, there are a lot of people moving and not knowing what to do, and then a lot of people knowing exactly what they do. And Henry just kind of calls it out and doesn't respond to it. It's just, like, we're on fire, but he doesn't take action, exactly like Deb said. And then quickly Buckingham jumps in and says, my gracious lord, return to Killingworth until a power be raised to put them down. And it's just like, okay, what is the necessary response? Just suppress. And it's such a failure of authority. It's such a failure of imagination. But they're so quick to just move. We'll put it out, just put it down. And it's and that on its own, that failure of leadership is a violence.
Yep.
Monty, do you have anything in YouTube?
We have a lot of yes, Deb, very true, Deb, agreeing arrows, and also the wages of ambition and betrayal, a stern warning to us today.
Oh, yeah.
It made me think, this all made me reflect back on something that I heard that I forgot that I had heard anew tonight, was that Cade doesn't say we'll all be rich. He says we'll have no money. There will be no money. We will erase money. Which I had never noticed before. I don't know why that resonated so strongly. Another thought, amazing the synchronicity of this play at this time, or is it just Shakespeare finger on the pulse? So I guess maybe that the end of that does become a question. So maybe that's the first YouTube question that we'll take. Anyone have a thought on that? Is it the synchronicity of this play at this time, or is it just Shakespeare having a finger on a pulse that kind of doesn't stop beating?
I'd argue it's pulse. I think and this is going to sound incredibly depressing, and I'm not trying to do that, but we've seen these circles happen over and over and over again throughout history. Before this, as we were saying, the Roman plays have stuff about uprising of bad leaders, and therefore people responding to bad leadership, and how the multitudes will do that. And it's happened even in the UK. We've in the 30, nearly 40 years I've been alive, we've had huge spins of political turmoil because of bad leadership. And I think it's a very, very sad pulse, human pulse. Which is, yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Tom. That was depressing. Thanks. No, you're right. You're absolutely dead on right.
Not to be defeatist about it.
I also think, like, on a more generalized note, we haven't done a play yet where we have said, oh, this is not relevant. I don't think. I think every play that we've done so far, there's been an answer to that question. Perhaps this one we feel is more relevant right now. But I think all of these plays speak to human truths, and all of them touch on themes that are, as Tom says, that recur through history. So I think yeah, that's.
There's something in terms of just like Shakespeare terminology of like, oh, the history cycles, and the word cycle, and going back to what's being shared is like, time is a flat circle, and the idea that the finger on the pulse of a global corpus that is existing permanently, and like if this is part of our pulse, fuck, like what do we do? What do we do? I think that's an important question.
To pick up on what something Harry said, and to pick up on what you're saying, Dan, as Harry was saying, we've done a whole number of these plays, not just the history ones. We've done a whole number of plays that we've said are all relevant. So as much as we've got a play like this, which is a piece of political turmoil that is feeling terrifyingly relevant and terrifyingly cyclical, there's other beautiful work that we've done that gives you so much joy that is still also timeless. So within all that horror of that's timeless, there's still a lot of great humanity that's timeless and will never go away. And sometimes it's about just doing the best we can, maybe this is, to hunker down and deal with those bad bits of politics so that we do come out of it better humans within our lifetime, and we then leave it up to the next generations to do their fuck-ups or do their absolute bits of beauty and joy, which he wrote about as well.
And also keep telling stories, because we have to say it out loud or it just goes unchecked, right? And there's a thing about creating that story and saying, look, this is us. What are we doing? That helps that conversation keep going. I don't know. Obviously, we're not getting far with it, but I think it's something also about theatre and poetry and making something beautiful in the middle of something awful, or at least coming together to try and find something that we love together when we all feel pushed apart or something. I think there's something in that. I think.
And I think to follow up, the way we look at art is to arrive at it with empathy, and then arrive at it also with really strong critical thinking, and to stop and have these conversations and ask tough questions. Because I think there's something universally human, and that's out of our control in a lot of regards, that we're going to see, humans being human forever. But I also think there's something universally political in these stories. And we realize, whether you're looking at the Roman plays or these English histories or the present day, we're not looking at different political models. Where these are still systems of empire. These are stories of empire. So as long as, as long as the way we structure what we are and how we, distribute and levy power, it's all imperial. We're going to see this come on back. It's like we've loaded the algorithm, and so here we are again, whether it's Roman or American, or in this case, located in the English history. It's
You muted.
You muted yourself.
Oh no! The censors got me.
But
on that, Joel, something on a non-systemic levels, on a very personal level, what you said earlier, Dab, I feel like is as terrifying as the systemic pulse repeating is. Some of the human stuff reminders is like going back to basics. And one of the things that really stuck out to me tonight, Deb, and you elucidated it perfectly earlier, you said, even like, I like Henry. He's a good person with a good heart who's broken, and I feel for him. But he's not a good leader, right? So being a good person isn't good enough. Right? It's not enough to be a good person. And I think that in a smaller way, in a more maybe actionable way, that is a reminder that I am not terrified by, but kind of grateful to be reminded about.
Okay, so on that note, if you want to continue the conversation and you have more questions, or you want to talk more about the player and what we did today, I invite you to the company pub for patron supporters, or after party of Shakespeare Happy Hours. And I invite you to donate and give some collaboration to us actors that are not working to patreon.com/Shakespeare Happy Hours. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching from YouTube, and thank you, guys. I will see you later. Bye.
Bye.